What's up, lore masters? As you guys know, I've been doing this Starship lore series for a while, and we are finally coming down to the wire on canon Starfleet ships. I'll be doing a few more here and there, but after this, I'll finally be able to move on to ships in Beta Canon, other military and non-military ships in Trek, and vessels from other universes. With that out of the way, let's take a look at the ships God forgot. The Apollo Class, while ironically being a relatively unknown ship, played minor roles in several critical events in Starfleet history. The ship was utilized by several different organizations, including Starfleet, the Maquis, and the Vulcan National Merchant Fleet. Additionally, the hulls of crashed ships were utilized by other governments, including the Romulan Star Empire. The most notable sighting of the ship was with the Romulan Star Empire. The Romulans had sent a peace envoy in an attempt to heal the ties between the Romulan and Vulcan governments. The envoy was dispatched and recovered and refurbished Apollo-class ships. Though, these vessels secretly hid invasion troops that were to secure Vulcan, which makes a ton of sense. I mean, I really doubt the Federation would have cared if the Romulans invaded a founding world so close to Earth, and thus being so close to the capital of the Federation. I mean, it probably would have just been a misunderstanding. It also shows how much of a military Starfleet was during this time, as it allowed over 2,000 Romulan soldiers through the borders and deep into Federation space. The ship would also be a testbed for a new warp drive by Kaczynski. And finally, the ship was utilized by Starfleet to deliver Class 4 industrial replicators to the Cardassians during the Klingon-Cardassian War. Unfortunately, this vessel was captured and hijacked by the Maquis, and the shipment never would make it to the Cardassian Union. The Sydney Class was an orbital shuttle around the early 23rd century during the times of Kirk. Wait, what? The Sydney Class was a personal transport ship utilized by the Federation during the mid to late 23rd century. It had the standard systems including transporters, sensors, subspace radio, and impulse engines. It was even theorized that the Sydney Class was able to outmaneuver a Galaxy-class ship given its size and impulse engines. And you thought that only Jim Hadar's ships could do that. The transport was extremely compact, the bridge having a transporter right next to the command consoles. The rear half of the bridge had the command chair in the center, flanked by both the command and operations consoles. As stated, there was also a transporter for 2 men that was adjacent to the bridge itself. Proving that the Federation could automate its ships if it wanted to, the Antares-type ship was one of the few vessels that could either be outfitted to require a crew or be controlled completely by AI. This would require changing out the bridge, which I imagine was basically a minor refit. The ship was utilized for surveys, transport, cargo, and science endeavors. It is most well known for one of the vessels being destroyed during the trials involving the M5 Multitronic unit, and when the USS Enterprise, no bloody A, B, C, or D, escorted 2 of these ships that were hauling grain to Sherman's planet. Though the ships would be attacked by the Klingons, unfortunately. The Curry-type ship was a vessel that was utilized at least during the Dominion War. We don't have any real Alpha Canon beyond its inclusion among the defeated fleet at the early stages of the war, but Beta Canon resources state that the ship had 290 officers and crew, had 10 Type 9 phaser emitters with 2 photon torpedo launchers, had a length of 383 meters, beam of 194 meters, and height of 148 meters. It was also capable of warp 9.75 for 12 hours. The Soyuz-class ship, or Soyuz in the Latin, was either a vessel that's construction was influenced heavily by the Miranda-class, or was a Miranda-class variant. It had 2 nacelles connected to pylons that were attached directly to the primary hull with an enlarged tail section aft that protruded out. Similar to that of the Miranda-class, 2 shuttle bays were installed on the backside of the primary hull. The bridge itself had similar designs to that of the Miranda and Oberth, with the view screen directly in front, captain's chair in the middle, a stand-up console located towards the back, and the entirety of the bridge lined with various stations to handle ship operations. Unfortunately, at that time, Starfleet was not installing gelato machines. The Norway-class vessel existed during the Dominion War and was also seen during the Battle of Sector 001. The vessel has at least 1 phaser mounted on the dorsal bow. Now again, while there are no canon resources, Beta Canon states that the ship could have up to 190 officers and crew with the ability to evacuate upwards of 500 people. The ship could sustain a warp of 9.7 for 12 hours with 6 Type 10 phaser emitters and 2 photon torpedo launchers. The ship's length was 364 meters and a beam of 225 meters with a height of 52 meters. The Daedalus Class is one of the earliest vessels constructed by Starfleet, being in service before 2196. This ship is unusual in design from future Starfleet vessels. It sports a spherical primary hull with a neck that led to the secondary hull, which was elongated. The ship would have around 229 crew and was known for its unique subspace distress signal. Per resources I could find, this class was decommissioned around 2196. The design of the Daedalus would be aped by the Olympic Class vessel, which was designed in a late 24th century alternate universe. The Olympic Class would have the same spherical primary hull with an elongated secondary hull. The Olympic Class deflector dish was incorporated as a part of the spherical design at the lower end of the primary hull itself. It would additionally have a large shuttle bay on the upper dorsal section of the primary hull, with impulse engines on the upper third of the aft hull. While still having defenses, the ship was generally utilized for medical emergencies and survey missions. Its limited ability to defend itself would show that the O-berth style of ship design still lived well into the future, well, at least an alternate future. The Jaeger type vessel, a ship that's personally liked by Space Dock.
Now this ship is, generally speaking, hated by the community, and I'm going to go against the flow here to say that I love this ship and I always have. I think this thing looks really cool.
Is one of those that was seen a lot during the Dominion War but is not expanded on greatly. The vessel appears to be an Intrepid class variant that is more built to have a fighter-esque role. Beta Canon resources state the ship has around 204 officers and crew. It also has 7 Type 8 phaser emitters and a photon torpedo launcher. It is 402 meters long with a beam of 195 meters and a height of 58 meters. The ship can sustain warp 9.55 for 12 hours. Curiously, while everything about the ship states Intrepid variant, as stated, it does not appear to have the advanced systems of the actual Intrepid, being a significant downgrade. And what I like to call the "it's on a random screen on a ship" series of Starfleet ships, the Ptolemy Class was a Federation tug that was utilized by Starfleet in the 23rd century. According to Memory Alpha, this ship had the engineering hull of the Constitution class connected with a neck that could also accommodate several transport containers. Interestingly, I was hoping that perhaps the Ptolemy Class had been used during the DS9 episode A Time to Stand as the tug that was bringing an Excelsior class ship that had been damaged. But alas, it does not appear to be that ship. Along with vessels only seen on poorly filmed screens, the Saladin class was a destroyer with a saucer section and a single nacelle, though both the nacelle and saucer section appear to be similar to that of a Constitution class vessel. Moving on to the O-berth variants, which means any ship that's generally seen in a graveyard, we have the Challenger class, which shared many similarities to that of a Galaxy and Nebula class. The Springfield class, which we never get a clear image of, but also appears to share similarities to that of a Galaxy class, and the Freedom class, which appears to be very similar to that of the Saladin class. As stated, these are all ships that are either exclusively seen in a graveyard of a battle, or have minor appearances within the series themselves. But to be fair, at least these ships were seen. Some classes would not even get this honor, including the Merst class, Bradbury class, Renaissance class, and Korolev class, because no one loved them enough to even spend money on seeing what they would look like. As had been stated before, this video included the bulk of ships that were a part of Starfleet, but mostly forgotten. There are a few ship classes that I haven't finished that we will be getting to and making the videos for them specifically, so stay tuned. Additionally, I'll be moving on to other series and beta classes of these variants. As always, remember that our lives are just a story. Make yours a good one. Hey guys, I am excited at some future updates that are coming down the line, so this would include a complete revamping of the Lore Reloaded Patreon, which will include new giveaways and behind the scenes. Additionally, those who become a Patreon now will get their name on the Patreon exclusive shirt and will get a chance to be on the ground floor of the Lore Cinematic Universe. Stay tuned. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded.